Hi Marjorie, I just watched your video. I think the first thing that I was wanting to say, I guess doesn't really pertain to your video per se, but the original video we watched, and I thought that it was interesting that, well, the first thing that jumped out at me when I watched that clip was that the therapist was talking more than in the previous clips that we watched. It seems like in the other therapy sessions with the other theories that we watched, the client was talking more and the therapist was just kind of guiding the conversation, but the client was doing the overall talking. And I felt like right off the bat when watching this one that the therapist was talking more than previously. So that was one thing I found interesting. Not that it was a bad thing, just different from what I had noticed in previous videos that we watched. Let's see. Sorry, my notes are like way over here. You talked about the automatic thoughts. For example, like kids automatically saying, oh, I'm bad at Spanish, or I'm bad at that subject. So I get that a lot. Also, I teach science, so I get that a lot where they're like, oh, I'm bad at science. I've always been bad at science. And so I feel like they're coming into my classroom as a teacher defeated before we've even started anything. But what usually happens, not always, there's always a few, is by the end of the year, they're like, I love Spanish. Spanish. Oh, what am I talking about? I love science. So that always makes me happy, because I try, to make it fun and do lots of experiments. And I think I'm kind of getting off topic a little bit, but I think the reason, for sixth graders to hate science is that they, in intermediate school, well, it's elementary, but here it's intermediate, so in fifth grade, there's such a big push, and like in third, fourth, and fifth grade with the STAR test, there's such a big push for math and reading for the STAR test, and so science is kind of like put on the back burner a little bit. They touch on it, but at least here, it's usually, depending on what teacher they have, but it's usually textbooks, textbook work, do the pages in the textbook and answer the questions, and then we're done with science. So for them, science is boring. Science is a textbook work. And so that's why they usually hate science. But once they get into middle school and they have a teacher that's all I teach is science. So I'm not going to put it on the back burner because that's what I teach. And we do experiments, and they see that science is really not that bad. So I think it's important, like you said, to find out, they're having these automatic thoughts. I'm bad at blah, science, whatever. I'm horrible at it. I'm not good at it. I'm not going to be good at it. To, like you said, to kind of determine the root of that thought. Why are you thinking that? Tell me why you think you're bad at science. And I've had to have that conversation with lots of kids in my class, because they'll come in, I'm not doing the work. Well, I'm not going to do it because I'm bad at science. And then that's kind of what I found out through talking to them. Well, why do you think you're bad at science? Because it's boring textbook work. And I don't read so well. So, then we can tackle that, well, science is more, than just textbook work. It's this and that. And so then after, a while of being in science and doing experiments and hands-on things for those kids, they actually end up enjoying it. So it kind of changes their view. But if I was just to take that at the beginning and write them off, well, they think they're bad at it, so they don't care, I don't care, just, you know, then we would get a different outcome with those kids. So like you said, it's important to find out what is causing that belief, because there's some reason for it. You don't just say you're bad at something for no reason. I'm really bad at fractions. So I will be the first one to, something in my eye. I'll be the first one to say, ooh, fractions, not gonna do it. I'm bad. But the evidence that I have of that is that I'm really bad at fractions. Just never really learned how to do them. So I guess we all have our weak points. Fractions is mine. And then you talked about how the client is the owner of, you know, their can't think of the word I'm thinking. Their therapy. The client is the owner of their thoughts and why they're having these thoughts and how they're going to fix the situation. It's not that the therapist is coming in, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and then you'll be better. The client is talking about what automatic thoughts they're having and why they're having them and how they can change those thoughts. So, yeah, I really enjoyed your video, and I thought it was very informative. Bye.